Hi, we are Grandma's Trio, and this week we're going to be talking about McCloud's Understanding Comics and Freud's Fetishism, and we're going to be looking at some old comics today. My name is Mars, and I use they, them pronouns.
I'm Molly. I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Corey, and I use they, them pronouns.
Okay, so I think, do we want to jump in and talk about some of the concepts today?
Yeah,
Icon, closure, and fetishism.
I think it would be a good idea to dive into.
Some definitions. So if anybody else doesn't have anything, I can go for closure. I wrote down that it happens in the gutter, which is in between comic book panels, and it's like you are imagining what's happening, and even though they're still images, they can have like a film like motion like in your head, like you're imagining that there's like emotion there, and it's like something that happens like in your mind in between the panels. So that's closure.
If I can add on to that real quick, it's also like observing the parts but perceiving the whole. That's what McCloud said. And so yeah, it's just like mentally filling in the gaps. And the gutter, that was a really good word to include, like the space between panels and just observing it all as one thing. Yeah, that's that. Sorry, keep going.
No, that's a good add-on. And also I remember in the lecture he said that it is like worse than what you could imagine. Like what you could imagine is worse than it could be. Like they leave it open-ended and let you fill in the blanks in the gutter because you can make up like a scenario in your head. And that also reminds me, this might be a little off topic, but it's the screen studies in me coming out. This also reminds me of like in horror movies when like if they reveal the monster or like the bad guy too early, it's like not scary anymore because like you know what he looks like. So that kind of reminds me of closure, where it's like if you know what it looks like, it's not as good.
Also, isn't like that and like a combination of like what else we're talking about, like the reason why like comics are like so like closely related to like movies.
Yeah,
like the closest thing to movies.
you did say that.
Yeah. Ontologically, they're like the closest cousins, I think, because like the only thing, or at least the big thing that movies has that comics don't, is like that actual motion rather than just turning the page. If it's a comic physical one, for example. Yeah. And that's what closure is for. So you can fill in those yourself.
And that also kind of leads into why comic books might be fetishistic. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Going in.
But the way that movies like just kind of happen and you're watching like and there's a pace and you have to just watch it. But with comic books, you can stop and observe and go back and reread and kind of like linger, and that like not like finishing and like the closure part is like about fetishism.
Right. Yeah, like we were talking about how the fetishist substitutes like the different object, and I feel like the comic book is like that.
The object?
Yeah.
Comic book fetish?
Yeah.
Well, a comic book fetish would be like collecting them and not reading them, right? Because it's like
but the
not
thing is like
the object for what it's supposed to be
okay,
for.
but the thing is like you're supposed to like read the story as like one. Like I don't think it was made to like go back and forth, stay on one page, go.
But isn't that it's about
I don't think it was. I just think that's how like what happens when like people with fetishes handles books.
Oh, okay.
And I think most of the people that like read these things
read them like a normal person.
No, don't read them.
Okay.
Read them as it's a fetish.
Okay. And also I am gonna say, I know Hugh kind of pushed back on this last time, but I'm gonna repeat myself. that I think Freud might be a little bit Looney Tunes, but I think that he does have some good points along the way. But I will say I won't put full stock. I'm sorry. I'm a Freud auntie. I don't know what to say.
The Freud auntie.
And I'm
Freud
going to
auntie
Clark,
fan
which
club.
is really interesting.
True.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna mute.
That's a lot of good points, though. Yeah, that did kind of come full circle real quick with like even the physical.
I'm sorry. Did that go too off topic?
No, that was
icons?
awesome. That was great.
Okay.
Okay, and then we have another concept, which is the icon. A pretty significant visual example of that was like the scale of detailed faces.
I should have put that on the slideshow that I'm going to show when we go into our comics, but
That's all right. So yeah, there was like the pretty realistic sketch, and then it just got like less detailed until it was like just a circle with 2 dots and a line. And like they're still recognizable as like the same guy, maybe even. And that's just they're just depicting the same thing, but even without such specific imagery, I guess. But the more like iconic it is, that allows for more of the imagination to fill in the blanks. Like yeah, kind of like with closure.
Also an important aspect I think is that the more iconic something is, or like the more iconic a face is, the more open to identification it is, and like people like feeling identified with the like given character.
People are able to like relate to it more.
Yeah. Yeah, it says the guy at the end could be anyone. It's true. The 2 dots in a line. So I think we can go into our comics now. Did we talk enough about fetishism?
Let me see if I have any other notes on that. I also feel like people, because people collect comic books, right? Like, so I have like a note that says like fetishists, the desire is never satisfied. So I feel like that could be like a reason, like for like the collection.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I think like what we were talking about before, like, is it though, is how you're supposed to read it? Like, no, I don't think so. Like, that's not how you read a normal book. Like, you know, I just feel like the types of people that read it are usually collectors, or not, maybe not collectors, but like,
well,
read a lot of them.
This is like in 2022, the people that read comic books are probably collectors, because who reads comic books? No offense.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Here, or anyone viewing reads comic books.
Well, but the thing is,
hey, I'm not done. I'm sorry. When they were made, lots of people read comic books, lots of them, and children and like the whole family got in on it.
Okay, but here's the thing. So I'm gonna.
Are they all fetishists, Molly?
Hold on, I'm gonna make this relation. I feel like maybe the comic books are kind of like our modern day TikTok. And I'm gonna be honest, like maybe we are TikTok fetishes, because I'll be honest, I scroll on TikTok for hours a day. I know who else does.
I'll raise my hand to that. Corey, you're one of the strong ones.
Yes, you know, I'm the one reading comic books. Not even gonna lie. I have a couple Umbrella Academy volumes, and it's literally because Gerard Way recommended it. Like I had to, my chem heart.
I feel like I am like a TikTok fetishist.
I lost my volumes, though. It's really sad.
But we're like the people that read comic books.
Still though, that's a really interesting point, bringing TikTok.
Well, I feel like I'm not like talking down. Like I feel like I'm not okay.
Guys, we need to share our comic.
Hold on. Let me just
okay.
I'll be honest, like I feel like it's like the same thing. It's just across generations. Like it was, except like people like still now. But like I'm like dead ass, like I feel like TikTok, like TikTok is like it's like a new fetish. I swear to God, it is.
Yeah.
Or like at least things that TikTok have created. Like there's now like TikTok created the Squishmallow thing. Same thing like that. Same thing, different generation. Wait, what was the thing they said in Jersey Shore the other day? They were like,
not here, bestie, not here. Okay, can we talk about our things now?
Let's go.
Okay.
Good
I'm gonna share
stuff.
the screen. Oh, I found the share screen button. That was we're sharing. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Oh, shoot. I forgot about the intro slide. Welcome to our comics. Okay. So this is mine first. So I'll just first talk a little bit about what is going on. So they've been seeing like a werewolf, I guess, around their ship. And so the panels before this is like two guys like actually like having a conversation. Like there's a lot of like text bubbles, like they're having real, thoughts and feelings. And then it cuts to the guy's girlfriend, and she has like a few lines here up in our top corner. And then she sees this really scary werewolf with a human face and immediately screamed for her boyfriend's help and then falls down the stairs. And then the next panel is the guys talking about her, and they say, and in her nervous state, well, you know how women are. And he says, I think I do, doctor. That's the doctor. She just saw a werewolf with a man's face. And the doctor is like, oh, you know how women are. She saw a shadow. So obviously this is like extremely misogynistic. And before I talk about icon enclosure and all that stuff, I have a question, because I really feel like this is too misogynistic to not be self-aware. Do you think when they're like, oh, you know how women are, I think I do, doctor, is that like a joke? Like, are they like making a joke of it, or are they actually like dead ass, like this is the way they're portraying this woman? Please tell me it's not real.
I mean, I think in this moment they're making a joke, but overall she's still the object.
She's still being portrayed as like this useless, like, John, help me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so in terms of closure, this one really speaks to the concept of closure, just because there's a couple things here. She's running and she's falling, and we're not really seeing the fall, but we can imagine her falling down these stairs and hitting her head and being all shaken up and banged up, but we're not actually seeing that. So probably what we're seeing in our head is worse than this goofy looking graphic of her falling down the stairs. Speaking of goofy looking, this werewolf baby face man thing, I think they could have left that out. I think in terms of closure, they could have left it up to the imagination, in my opinion. But other than that, I think like in terms of icon, this little guy, I think he's like kind of more towards like, he has more features than like, if we want to talk about cuteness, than this like cute, she has like soft features, like this little like dot of a nose, and these like full lips, and then we have this like jagged like little like man face. So I guess that kind of speaks to like kind of a more realistic rugged look than like an iconic like softer look, to like portray their characters. Does anyone have any thoughts about that?
I feel like also like when you're talking about like the features, the woman has like less features like to make her more like relatable, when we were like talking about that before. And I feel like
it's also like, who's relating to this woman? Like, it reminds me again of bell hooks, the way, well, this is obviously pretty different, but the way that like Black female viewership, like they have to like kind of be like, okay, like that's like a woman, but like I'm not really gonna relate to her because she's useless. Like I know the argument is that like the more iconic it is, the more relatable it is, but like I don't want to relate to this woman. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about that. But yeah.
I think that's for again, almost like the fact in the last panel that everything is like too filled in and you can barely make out anything. It's kind of like the opposite of before, where like instead of like just barely being anything, there's just too much to the point where you can barely see anything at all. And then in the bottom left, that's also somewhat iconic. She's just this little thing. She can't even see her face at all, even, but you still know that's her. She's in a hurry. I just this guy, this little face, it is so much. It is so
I feel like
much.
they could have done like a shadow even.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Even like you can't even see what's behind him. Like you can't see the lower half. It
Yeah.
could be a whole horse body right there.
Yeah.
We don't know.
That's true. That is true in terms of closure. I also just realized I didn't say much about like fetishism, but really all I can think about with this is like misogyny and just like what we're talking about with like the male gaze, like these two tiny guys in the corner, like I'm sure they show their full bodies at some point in the comic, but just like the stark contrast of this like
Also, like,
super compromising Molly, I'm in the middle of a sentence. The super compromising position, and then they're just like these two shadows, like you don't even have to see their faces or bodies and you can just hear them talk, but like she has two lines and then she's like splayed out, is kind of fetishistic to me and just like misogynistic. I'm sorry, Molly, go ahead.
oh, you're good. I'm sorry. It's just like I have an idea. The way that like she's like falling, like when you're talking about the male gaze, the way that she's like falling, like her like dress is like still normal. Like I don't know, they're still showing her figure.
Her
Like
hair is like inside out.
like
It like didn't fall at all.
it's like very much like reminds me of just like how like men see women. Like
Perfect. Like, yeah. Okay, I think we should move on because we are
right.
quickly running out of time.
Okay.
Ready?
Yes. Okay. So this is my
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to say the actual name of like what it is. So that is from Adventures into the Unknown. It's the first volume. It's from 1948. I was looking for comics from before the great I don't even know what to call it when they put all those rules in place to like censor comics. So I was looking for that. So I went early. Okay. Sorry, Molly. I just forgot to say what it's from.
Okay, mine is from Ibis the Invincible. So there's like a few things I want to say about this one. I'm gonna start off with the iconic because I feel like okay, so first off, for like the iconic, the people on the white man in the on the bottom is very like is like the most iconic and like is like okay, I feel like this, I know like it wasn't like relatable to everybody in that other one, but in this one it is because it's supposed to be like the like American like hero when he's like saying another mass of like and he has like this entire army in the back. So I feel like that is supposed to be relatable. And then the extremely like less iconic, like the other side of the scale, um, are the Japanese people who are like drawn very exaggerated, to be clearly very racist. And I feel like that's why it was like on the other side of the iconic thing, and I wanted to start off with that. And then I had an idea about like the fetish thing on this. I'm not sure if it's completely right, but I feel like there's kind of like a fetish of like war and like power and like this time when like people are reading this like this is kind of like supposed to be a thing of like American propaganda, and I feel like that has a lot to do with like propaganda during war has a lot to do with fetishizing, maybe not war but like power, if that makes sense. And I feel like this comic really like shows that. Yeah.
I'm actually gonna let you finish first.
Okay. So I actually am basically finished. I was trying to think of something for closure. But I'm struggling with that. Like, I don't know what I would assume. I think okay. Yep.
I was just gonna say that like maybe when they're dragging the general up, because they're like overthrowing him, right? They're dragging him away in the top two panels. So maybe that's just like you don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, right. I was thinking that too, and that's why I was also thinking like that is kind of like a symbol of like the power fetish.
Yeah.
Um,
I I liked what you said about like the power fetish because it kind of reminds me of what we were talking about castration anxiety and like the way like manly men are like I love my truck, I love America. It's kind of like the like overly like nationalism like kind of
yeah.
attitude that like now the great nations of the East are joined for the invasion of the West. Like this is like extremely like you said, Molly, propaganda. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Um, yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I didn't. I thought I had a thought, but I didn't.
All right. There's just so much to take in here. Like, oh my God. I think you guys covered a lot of it already. But gee whiz, when the prompt was like find something shocking or something like that, boy, did you hit that nail.
Yeah, like the like I know this is like the girl wearing like the red and blue and gold, like kind of like Captain America-y vibes.
The
Really.
talking about the male gaze again, we have all of these like fully clothed men, and then they're like, "Oop, belly button and boobs."
Yeah, like
You're fun. A little
Below
eye candy
window.
for the comic viewers.
yeah. Um, yeah.
Ready for the next one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, word. Oh, there we go.
Okay, yeah. So this was an advertisement for Camel cigarettes, which was very much a thing in like the 50s. And advertisers realized that like comics were a great place to promote products. And so this was also like around World War II, roughly. And so we're back at it again. Ladies, let's get in the Navy. So we've got Phyllis here. A couple quite realistic renditions of Petty Officer Phyllis here, whose last name is not revealed. So for iconic qualities, of course, we've got the one end of the scale with the really realistic, may as well just paint it like a straight up photograph. And in the T zone, for example, it's just her head. It's the letter T. And let's see. For what was I gonna say? I forget. Sorry, pardon the car. Yeah, closure. A lot of gutterage going on. No, it's kind of somewhat like a montage or a compilation, even. So really, you can just kind of fill in whatever you'd like, whatever sort of activities that are preparing her for the Navy may be happening. For the one, like the middle right, you can just whatever the professor presumably is saying about this lecture when he says when hull is not a carrier may be identified by its island, and maybe he'll elaborate on that. We don't know. That's for the reader to fill in. Again, with like that female body kind of deal, we've got these ladies getting ready to swim. We don't get to see them actually go swimming because how dare, too scandalous. But then also in like the panel above it, they're like almost fully clothed. They are fully clothed, but like the legs are still out because you gotta have at least have a bit of a reveal. But yeah, that's about it, I think.
And like skirts, even though they're like going to the Navy.
Exactly. Like, what is the practicality?
This is a really funny ad. With the smokers in the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard, the favorite cigarette is Camel. Okay.
Right? Smoking is obviously an essential part of being in the Navy, right?
America, the
Yeah.
Navy and cigarettes, and women in bathing suits.
Exactly. Like, even this one guy says, so now you're a full-fledged sailor, smoking Camels too. Like, duh, obviously, if you're gonna be a sailor, you gotta smoke. That's part of it. That's like common knowledge, right? Even better.
And
You're even more of a sailor because you're smoking. Makes sense, right?
I'm trying to think of anything else to say about
Yeah.
iconism or closure or fetishism.
I guess like even the camel on the packaging is sort of an example, because didn't McCloud talk about logos somewhere when he was talking about symbols? Or it's like, so this is not an actual camel. It's like an icon of a camel or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
No.
What is wait, I don't know if you talked about this, but what is with the girl face? Yeah.
T-zone.
Oh, yeah. What about that?
What is it? Oh,
Oh, that's just about cigarettes.
Oh,
oh.
but
Yeah.
like the face, what does that mean? Wait.
I think they're showing where the T-zone is.
Yeah, the taste in the throat, because that's what's so fun about smoking. Where cigarettes are judged, it says. Yeah, it's really tiny. Sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Never tried them.
I also like screenshotted this, so it might have not been the best like quality.
Oh yeah, I can read stuff that's too tiny if you need to. But I think the main stuff that we need to look at is legible enough.
Yeah,
This
definitely.
is so she's in the Navy now. I can't get over this. It's like, oh look, women can be in the Navy. They're people.
So cool.
And they can, never mind. I'm not gonna finish that sentence.
No, you can. Go on.
I was just gonna say they can risk their lives for our country.
I'm in.
I was thinking the same.
in.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, so noble.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note, I think we're wrapping up here on our last video. Have we?
Last video.
Wait, hold on. Actually, one more thing I wanna.
Okay,
I forgot. So, like in like the first little panel thing, it they're referring to the Navy ladies, I'm assuming, as like Uncle Sam's waves, and that we were kind of talking about nationalism and stuff earlier before, right? That also kind of brings in that like, woo, it's America.
Yeah.
Propaganda party, let's go. All right, that's all. Let's go.
Yeah, I think I keep bringing bell hooks back because I just remember that reading a lot. But there was a part where it was like the mass media was like there to perpetrate white supremacy and like the status quo. And so I feel like just like comics in general and the mass media in general was and perhaps still is propaganda. I mean, probably more in this time because this is a lot. Like all of our examples from today have been pretty bad for America. So yeah, I think that's interesting. Okay, is that all, folks?
I believe so.
Okay, thank you for watching our last video this semester. It was a pleasure. Had a blast.
Yeah.
Videos. Okay, bye.
Bye for the last time.
Bye for the last time. Molly.